there's a few technical things that I'm going to have to lay out in this graphic that I put up on the screen for everybody. And I will send you a PDF of the graphic with the links. So you will also have that. You don't have to camera shot it from the screen here. We have to start with the order of the zodiac, okay? Aries through Pisces, and what I call the 12 attitudes of the zodiac. Inherent in this zodiacal order is some very esoteric, very deep lessons and meanings and understanding. It's a birth, growth, maturation, okay, harvest, and the death of mankind. It's the life cycle of life. Right? We start with Aries. Aries, when we go from birth to death, Aries is considered birth and survival. It's the cosmic baby that's here and is going to survive. It's going to do whatever it needs to survive. If it doesn't get what it needs to survive, it's going to start crying and try and take it. Okay, so that's the Aries attitude, the Aries archetype. Survival at all costs. Now, remember, when I say archetype, I'm not talking about sun sign Aries, moon in Aries. I'm talking about the generic understanding of what the zodiacal sign of Aries stands for. We all have Aries somewhere in our chart, which is actually kind of what all of these 12 classes are going to be about. In the springtime, I will get to the Aries attitude and we'll express that. Tonight, we're going to start with Capricorn. Okay, since we're coming up on the winter solstice and we have the sun coming through the sign of Capricorn. Right? So Aries is birth and survival. Then as the entity or object grows, we move into Taurus. And Taurus is, okay, now I don't just want to survive, I want to enjoy my life. It's sensory stimulation. It's growth and acquisition. It's the six senses. It's if you can touch it, taste it, feel it, smell it, that's Taurus. We're starting to get involved with the environment around us. Then we move into Gemini, okay? And then Gemini is about interacting with others. Oh, we can speak, we can understand. There's other people there. How do we get from here to there? How do we go and we play with them? How do we talk with them? That's the communication part. That's Gemini, the attitude of communication and movement. Right? Cancer, once now, again, the entity is growing. We have a toddler, and then now that we've started to realize that there are other people in the world that we can interact with them and so on, we get to Cancer, we start to understand the value of love, okay? The value of emotional connectedness and the blossoming of love. It's where we start to love ourselves. It's where we start to love our family, and it's where the emotional body of a child or a toddler begins to develop, okay? After Cancer, we get Leo. Leo is about individuation. Leo is where we first start to kind of step out into society and say, oh, look at me, here I am, all right? What do I call it? I call it individuation and the insertion of the self into society. Okay, it is about standing up and being heard and being seen, and it's a fire sign, and it's ruled by the sun, and it's visible, and it's the golden boy, and it's all this kind of stuff. So then after Leo, we get to the point where, okay, so we're being recognized. Now let's start standing for something. Let's purify our actions. Let's make our actions accountable in the world. And we get to Virgo, which is very much refinement and accountability, the responsibilities and duties of human existence from one person to another. What do we owe each other? After Virgo, we get to Libra, okay? Libra is the interaction and community involvement. It's where it's not just we recognize other people out there, like Leo, it's now, oh, we want to be a part of that group. We want to imbue ourselves with the societal and the community relationships, and we'll do whatever we can to be able to make that happen. Interaction and community involvement. This is Libra. Societal acknowledgement. Scorpio is intimacy and initiation. It's where we face our demons and desires. Actually, the way I like to put it is Virgo is where you do the work in society. Libra is where society says, yes, okay, we accept you, you're a candidate, or so on and so forth. Scorpio is where you actually go through the initiations and you face your demons, you face your fears. Sag, as we get to Sag, that's where we now have the accolade or the chela or the disciple. It's like, okay, I've made it through the test. Now, God just talked to me. Tell me, give me a sign and I'll follow you. It's devotion and discipleship. The chela waiting to speak or for God to speak to them. Okay, give me a sign. Right? Now we get to Capricorn, and the Sagittarius is where the disciple climbs the mountain. Okay, tries to get to the guru, or tries to get to the burning bush, and so on. Capricorn is where you get to the burning bush, you get to the top of the mountain. It's achievement and accomplishment and delayed gratification and an attitude about the 20-year plan and not having a problem with saving for a rainy day in a way and dealing with the world. Aquarius, this is where we go past the mountaintop. We go out into space, out up into the world. I call it invention and ingenuity, going beyond the physical realm, going beyond the mountaintop. And this is where we get the genie and we get the different inventions and intuitions and so on. And then now we're coming full circle around to the end of the zodiac. And if you'll notice, I don't know if anybody's noticed this, but here is the order of the zodiac in this middle ring right here. All right. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sag, Capricorn, Aquarius, and then we get to Pisces. All right. Pisces is sort of the end of the life cycle. It's where we go back to the immersion in the source. All right. It's dissipation and dissolution, not disillusionment. Okay. It's where the drop becomes the ocean. And from a Pisces perspective, or actually from the age of Pisces perspective, what we're doing is we are now releasing that. We are moving into the wheel keeps moving. This is the karmic wheel of destiny. Some people call it Ezekiel's wheel in the Bible and so on, but that's what this is, okay? This wheel never stops turning. Life, death, rebirth, whatever, however you want to phrase it, an individual life, multi-lives or whatever, this wheel turns continuously.
Does anybody have any idea how I can...
Okay, I'm gonna need somebody to mute themselves here. So, okay. So, let me look at something here. So please save your questions till the end of this section, and then I'll ask questions and come back to that. So then we can turn all the microphones on. So, all right. So now there's something else we need to understand. So we need to understand this movement of Aries through Pisces, the order of the zodiac. It is fixed. It doesn't change. Ages ago, yes, there was 10 signs. Virgo and Scorpio were the same sign, and then they split it and put Libra in between. But for all intent and purposes, there are 12 signs. There's not 13. Okay, that has to do with the equator, where the sun passes. Does it pass through these constellations or not? And because okay, Anna Michael cannot figure out how to turn on her voice. I'm assuming everybody else can hear me, so it's got to be on your end, and it's not ours. Okay. Precession of the equinoxes. The Earth, as it spins on its own axis and then spins around the sun, we have the poles, the North and the South poles. Now, precession of the equinoxes, the best way to explain that is to say that the Earth spins like a top. And the North Pole and the South Pole, they tend to wobble. They spin around in a circle. And it takes roughly 26,000 years, a little over 2,000 years per age, which we are now set upon. We are moving from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. True, nobody actually knows the exact date, the exact time, and so on. I've given it a window of about 40 years from about 1988 to 2022. And so I think, as far as we're concerned, we're in it, all right? But the precession of the equinoxes is what's giving us our different ages. And we're moving from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. Now, one of the things I did with this graphic here is you'll see that the inner wheel shows what's considered the houses. I'll talk about that in a second. But the middle wheel shows where the signs are in the age of Pisces. Pisces was rising, and then we complete the zodiac all the way around the chart. And each sign lines up with the house, which is exactly what we're going to be expressing tonight. But as we move from Pisces into Sagittarius, what happens is, in a way, the whole zodiac shifts forward one sign. And so as we move into Pisces, the age of Aquarius, we no longer have Pisces on the first house cusp. We have Aquarius on the first house cusp. And so we are moving from Pisces to Aquarius, from a water sign to an air sign, from what I call Pisces being the heart. How did I put that? The heart has no boundaries, okay? And with Aquarius, the mind has no limits. So we're moving from a heart-centered age to a mind-centered age. And there are good things and bad things about that. There are pitfalls and opportunities, and this whole class is about that, how we figure out how to do that, all right? Pisces was love thy neighbor. Aquarius is going to be pretty much become thy neighbor, merge with thy neighbor, go beyond your neighbor, whatever, but it's not just that neighbor as an individual entity. It's the Borg from Star Trek, it's the digital IDs, it's all of that, but we're almost a hive mind. And I've often said that with the age of Aquarius, the thing that is going to make the age of Aquarius work is the opposite sign from Aquarius. Here's Aquarius. What's the opposite sign? Okay. Here it is, Leo. All right, Aquarius, the Leo. The individuality. For a second, I thought I had written this wrong. So Aquarius is about group mind, the good of the whole outweighs the good of the individual. But it's, in astrology, there's not 12 signs. There's really 12 axes. The signs complement each other. Aquarius is complemented by the opposite sign of Leo. And Leo is the individual that stands up and does something about their situation. Takes some action, stands up and says, "Follow me." Let's do this. So, and it must be remembered that this zodiac that I'm giving you here, this Aries through Pisces, really what that is it's a coordinate system. It's the ability for us on Earth to be able to place ourselves and map the Earth in relation to the cosmos, in relation to the stars, in relation to the everything else out there. It has the zodiac. There's no boundaries to it. When you look out toward Aries and you're looking out into space and you see the stars in Aries and you see a planet moving through Aries, Aries doesn't end. There's no end to Aries. It goes as far as we can see. It's a position is what's happening here, okay? And as these different positions move through the zodiac, through the ages, okay, they imbue and embody different characteristics and encourage different attitudes in life. Okay. And where we draw our gaze, where we look, where we see, oh, there was Pisces rising during the Piscean age. There was Aquarius rising now coming up. That's going to be for the next 2,000 years in a way. It's like Aquarius rising. Okay. It makes all the difference to see what's there, what's in that part of the zodiac. Where is it? Now, the other part that we have to do in order to be able to understand this is we have to understand what the houses are in astrology. We have the signs. The signs are a way of us to map the earth out against everything out in the sky. The houses are a way of mapping us on the earth. The houses are pretty much as if you divided the earth as a globe into 12 slices, like if you were slicing up cantaloupe, okay? And you were looking down from the North Pole and you're looking down and you see these 12 different sections around the planet. These are the houses, and they always move in a counterclockwise direction. They always go from 1 through 12. That's just the way we do things. And again, houses are activities, signs are attitudes. And what we end up with is, think of the chart that we're looking at here. Think of the astrology chart as a lasagna, okay, with layers. All right. And we start with, all right, we start with the signs. Signs are attitudes. Those signs, as a plane or as a layer of lasagna, all 12 of those signs can lay on top of the houses, which are also a plane. So we get signs that are in different houses, which is the main thing that we're going to be talking about. And then we have another layer in astrology that's called the planets, or the orbit of the planets around our solar system. That tends to be somewhat in a plane too, but those planets then lay onto the signs and in the houses. And so then you have a planet, particular planet, and a particular sign in a particular house. Planets are energy, signs are attitudes, houses are activities. You end up with a particular, let's say Mars. So you have the Mars energy in a particular sign, let's say Cancer, but which would be ruling the roost and taking care of the family. And let's say it's in the 6th house, which would be the health of the family, and so on. It's the activities are how the attitudes of the sign express out into the world. And so we get these 3 layers of society. And
Hey, yeah,
yes,
sorry. Can you hear me?
okay.
That was a dog just gnawed on my toes. So
I have my screen set up where I don't see any of you. I'm just seeing the chart and I'm just seeing some of the information on the side. So I will change that later. But for this, so I chose to start these gatherings coming up on the winter solstice, okay, to give these efforts a stamp of renewal. The winter is always rebirth, renewal, regeneration, and so on. So that's why I'm attempting to start them now, okay? I chose to start tonight, by the way, is the new moon in Sagittarius. It's just passed like 7 minutes ago. And so the new moon gives a sort of cosmic momentum to the effort. There's a growth cycle that's going to take place with this as we go through the year. The idea that it's in Sagittarius, I chose that because Sagittarius is an attitude that's very aligned with the spiritual, God talk to me and tell me what to do. We lean more toward the spiritual. So I like that, right? And the fact that this particular new moon is actually falling in conjunction or right in front of, if we're looking from the earth, we see the new moon. Behind the new moon is the center of our galaxy. And I thought that was sort of icing on the cake. I didn't plan that, but it is doing that. And so it's like, okay, I must be on the right track here. So if you're watching this video after the December gathering, right, do know that you can take the Aquarian challenges at any time during 2026. There's a lot of interest here. I didn't expect 20 people, you know, but we don't have to worry if it grows too big. I'll just start doing it on other nights. So I'm likely to continue this past 2026 into 2027. So you can let other people know. You don't have to start, oh, I missed the first one in Capricorn. I can't do it. You can start anywhere along the wheel. My main issue is that I would like people, if they do start, that they really think about this as a year-long project, that they listen to and hear all 12 challenges, all 12 tasks, all 12 opportunities to understand more about the Aquarian age. Okay. So without further ado, welcome. All right. So the way I want to start this now, you guys can turn on your microphones, tell me, give me questions, tell me, you know, I really don't like looking at the chat. It breaks my train of consciousness. So just turn on your mics and give me some questions. Did you get, Anne, did you get your mic stuff fixed? I don't think I hear her, so. Okay, so I want to start with
Yeah,
Capricorn.
I got it fixed. I turned the
Excellent.
microphone off.
Yeah,
But,
and
yes,
like I said,
I'm
I'll
good to
send
go
out the
now.
Zoom. I'll send out the Zoom link, so if you missed something right at the beginning, you can listen to the Zoom link.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, so we're starting with Capricorn. The sun's going to go into Capricorn in 2 days. All right, so I figure, okay, let's start with Capricorn. It's not where I would have liked to have started if I was doing this as a book or a TV show or something like that, because Capricorn's kind of boring, actually, when it comes to the zodiacal signs. Sorry, you know, again, this is the archetype of Capricorn. And what we're going to have over the next few, up until the beginning of January 1st, 2026, we're going to get, the sun's going to go into Capricorn. Mars is going into Capricorn. It's now in Capricorn as of the 14th. Venus is in Capricorn. Will go into Capricorn on the 24th of December. And Mercury goes into Capricorn on the 1st of January. So this is a good time to deal with all these things. Remember, when you have multiple planets, you get multiple lessons. And again, where you find the planets in your astrology chart, where you find the signs in what houses, this shows the lessons that we have in our particular in our birth charts. Okay, and there's also the age of Aquarius chart, which is kind of what I'm using here. Right? So did you guys know that Capricorn is actually a feminine sign? Okay. The way we move Aries through Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, it actually moves. Aries is masculine, Taurus is feminine, Gemini is masculine, Cancer is feminine, masculine, feminine, masculine, feminine, all the way around the chart. And you see Sag up at the top here is masculine, so Capricorn must be feminine because Aquarius is masculine and Aquarius is feminine again. And so but Capricorn is what's considered the cardinal earth sign. It's where we are bringing, it's where that person up on the mountaintop talking to the burning bush or trying to reach the heights, the CEO at the mountaintop or whatever. But this is where it is considered a lot of the esoteric stuff. Alice Bailey, a few other people, Corinne Helene, consider Capricorn the most spiritual sign of the zodiac. And it has to do with the idea that that is where we have the attitude, that is where we have the ideas. Oh, okay, there's God, there's the source. Now I'm going to do something with it. I'm going to bring it down into the earth plane, and I'm going to do it, bringing spirit down into the earth. It's the builder of the physical. It also rules pregnancy as a builder of the physical. So think about that. Think about when you think of Capricorn, and think about when you think that it's actually a Capricorn. It's actually a feminine attitude or characteristic, and we really need to take this back a few ages to get to a more feminine age, and this stuff starts to make sense. But anyhow, Capricorn rules solidity and structure of the physical world, including, as I said, the physical body. All right. It rules the skin as the boundary of the body. Okay. And it rules the bones as the foundations of the body. Capricorn is an attitude about replication, construction, practicality. Don't worry about writing this stuff down. You'll get the links and the audios and the videos, and then you can write down what you want. Practicality, patience, perseverance, persistence, physicality, pragmatism, functionality, attainment. I like the phrase, if it works, don't fix it. That's Capricorn. It's durability, it's preservation. That body is growing. We want that body to remain here. That's why, by the way, that's why the Christmas tree, the evergreen, is so important around Christmas time, because it's the rebirth, the preservation, the green. It stays alive. It doesn't die and come back. It's evergreen, okay? A whole bunch of other stuff around there too. But Capricorn is about creating order out of the chaos of the zodiac, or out of the chaos of the spirit and air realms, and giving it some sort of physical definition, physical tangibility, physical order. Okay. Capricorn also rules family lineages and genealogies, and even what's it called? When you have certain medical things and they're passed down from parents to and so on, and so it rules that kind of stuff. All right, it rules legacy, it rules tradition. Okay, Saturn's the elder, the crones, the wise ones, the masters, the gurus, a higher power. Again, Moses on the mountaintop. It's oh, here's a good one. It's about bending the knee, okay, to a higher power. It's about, in a way, it's about humility and humbleness and service to a higher power. Okay, Capricorn's been given a bad rap because so many people have forgotten the spiritual side of what the world is. And it's all about, take what you can get and get to the mountaintop, and yay, so it's attainment and adherence to a higher order. That's the higher spiritual side. It's attainment through sacrifice, through dedication, through delayed gratification. The debt we owe to our ancestors, the summation of past actions and achievements, is karma. Okay, Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn, is considered the planet of karma. So I mentioned that they're the spiritual signs. Helene Corrine called Capricorn the abode of the world avatars, the mountain goat that has 1 foot on earth and 1 foot in heaven. Right? Capricorn, as I said, is feminine. It's not just solidity, it's fecundity, it's fertility. Okay. Remember, what's the opposite sign from Capricorn? Here's Capricorn. What's the opposite sign? Cancer. What's Cancer about? Birth, growth, nurturance, fecundity, and so on. They mirror each other. They harmonize each other. Okay. And by the way, the axes are always of the same masculine or feminine trait. Capricorn is feminine, Cancer is feminine. All right. Gemini, which is masculine, is opposite another masculine sign. You'll see this all through the zodiac. And my job as an astrologer is to get a person to sit here in the center of their chart, so that no one thing in any part of the chart weighs too heavily and becomes an obsession or a compulsion or so on. And I'll I'll stop there when it comes to the concept of Capricorn, okay, or placing it on the chart, all right? Cancer is about love, as I mentioned. Cancer is about, oh, we're learning how to love. Capricorn is what's left from the product of that love. What do we do with that love? What do we do to society? What do we do with the love of God? What do we do with agape and eros and all these kind of things? This is where Capricorn comes in. The perpetuation of our society, the service to mankind. These are the higher aspects of Capricorn. All right. Capricorn archetypes. I'm going to get a little facetious here, okay? But they love antique stores and little hidden hideaways, all right, where the old tried and true items can be found. We're talking museums, libraries, institutions, especially state institutions that have been around for a long time, and they're the repositories of knowledge and history and tradition and so on, okay? Archaeological remains, that's Capricorn, all right? Historical documents, landmarks, histories. I'm going to want you to go back to this part and think about these things, because when I give you the challenge, when I give you the task for Capricorn, they're going to be individualized, but they're going to revolve around these kind of themes, these histories, these legacies, these tethers to the past, okay? One of the main things I have with the Aquarian Age is we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We don't want to throw everything out from the Aquarian Age. We don't want to throw out our traditions, our histories, our Capricorn institutions, the buildings that should stay and remain, again, the foundations of our society. This is Capricorn. We get into Aquarius, that gets upended, and we're going to need to remember to hang on to these things and not throw it all away. So the activities most present in the Capricorn archetype are climbing the corporate ladder, okay? Investing in long-term bonds over short-term stocks. Again, it's the delayed gratification. It's the long-term outlook. Building the biggest and longest lasting structures, the biggest and the greatest, makes me think of Trump, you know. So tightening and defining rules and regulations also makes me think of Trump, but anti-Trump, you know. So partaking of ancient societies and institutions. This is all Capricorn attitudinal activities, okay? Achieving mastery of some craft, and also the recognition of tenure that goes along with that mastery of that craft. Reaching the mountaintop, okay? There is also the shadow side of all of this, of the Capricorn side, where it's not about construction, it's about deconstruction rather than construction, okay? The quickening of aging and the calcification of the world around us, whether it's our mind, body, or spirit, you know, it's entropy over legacy and longevity. This is the shadow side of Capricorn. And so we have to watch out for that. These are the things that I'm going to be questioning you about when I give you a month to do these challenges, and then we come back and discuss how well you did on. I don't expect everybody to accomplish the challenges in any 1 month, but I do want you to start on them, and I want us in group to discuss the roadblocks, discuss the encouragement, discuss the shadow that comes up with all of this, okay? So plant a tree, watch it grow, save heirloom seeds, build a structure, make your mark, grow an institution or humanitarian agency, learn how to can or preserve, okay? Master a craft or trade, offer yourself up to the goddess, that's a big one. Put your nose to the grindstone, okay? Now, take a look back at this chart, okay, this graphic. In the age of Pisces, which is this middle wheel, Capricorn stood on the 11th house cusp, and the 11th house cusp for a society or for an individual is often their hopes and dreams, their great ambitions. It's what they do with their friends and their groups and organizations. And Capricorn on the 11th is what has given us the corporate structure, okay, over the last 2 years. The capitalist society, in a way, the build out of big business and the solidity and too big to fail. Okay, this is Capricorn on the 11th. All right, what will happen as we move into the Aquarian age is Capricorn moves from the 11th to the 12th house. Capricorn will own the 12th house of the age of Aquarius. And the 12th house is where things get hidden, they get repressed, they get pushed into the subconscious. I always look to the 12th house in an astrology chart to see what things we were taught from our parents that we've squashed. We don't want to acknowledge. It's like this dark thing we push into the closet and so on. And so that's why it's doubly important in this sense that not only is Capricorn about traditions and lineage and making sure that things stay around for our grandkids and the 7 generations and so on, but it's going to move into the 12th house, one of the hidden houses of the age of Aquarius. And one of the negative things of the Aquarian age is going to be our ability to jettison the past so quickly that your head is going to spin. And I'm saying this is something we have to watch out for, that this is something that we need to resurrect or not let fail. All right. We don't want it tossed on the trash heap of history. The 12th house, that's where we relegate things to, oh, we'd rather forget that, and just move on and not have to deal with it. It's interesting that there was a whole bunch of studies done, and when one finds planets in the 12th house, especially near the ascendant, that literally is an indicator of a person's worth in society. If you find Mars or Jupiter in the 12th house, they're often athletes or Saturn, it can be lawyers or government officials and so on. If it's Mercury there, they can be musicians and artists and so on. And it's a real good indicator for what the subconscious wants to bubble up and do, what we really would like to do if our conscious minds wouldn't get in the way, so to speak. So in the 12th house, our shadows, they come to life if we do not exercise them properly. The shadows, they build bigger. The 12th house has been known as the house of undoing, poison to the Aquarian archetype if not dealt with in detail. Okay, we can't leave it in the dark. It makes me think of the Pluto's cave stuff. There's much we need to learn from the archetype of Capricorn. And I really don't want us to throw the baby out with the bathwater. So, okay, so now here is the challenge, the generic challenge for all of you for Capricorn. I want you to work on this for the next month. And then after this, I'll bring up the individual charts and we'll refine those challenges into specific activities or specific areas of your life. Okay. But this you can write down. Okay. Or this is build something that will last or preserve something that should. This is what we need to do in the age of Aquarius when it comes to understanding the attitude of Capricorn, integrating the part of our chart that is Capricorn, integrating any planets that we may have in our birth chart by Capricorn, integrating any transits that may be going on in the sky at the moment with planets going through Capricorn. Really isn't much. Well, we're going to have a bunch of the inner planets moving in there, but in general, build something that will last or preserve something that should. Okay, so here I want to, let's see if I can answer some of the things that had come up. So, oh, it looks like that was all about the audio for AMP. So I
Glenn,
think
I
we're
have a
good.
question actually. So you had mentioned that we're Sagittarius new moon. Is it also the cusp, like in a day or so, it would actually be in Capricorn?
Yeah, actually, pretty much by roughly around midnight, it will be. Because the new moon is at roughly 28 degrees of Sagittarius. So we only got 4 more hours after 5:42, 5:45, where it will go into Capricorn. So by midnight tonight, the moon is in Capricorn. So over the next 2 days, we'll also have the moon in Capricorn, 2.5 days, and you'll be able to resonate with this more. Yeah, so, hi, Joshua.
Hi, good to see you. Thanks for
Yeah.
answering. Yep.
Okay, so any other questions? You can turn on your mic and just ask me.
I have a question. You
Okay.
mentioned that the house deals with activities and that signs deals with attitudes. And then you mentioned planets as the other layers, but I didn't really get exactly what planets correlate to.
Okay, yeah, I skimmed over that one. It's planets are energies, okay? And there's
Energies. Okay.
different energies. Your Mars masculine energy, your Venus feminine energy, your fatherly sun energy, your motherly moon energy, your mystical Neptune energy. The planets show sort of like power stations.
Okay.
They build up a charge and they have a particular type of charge depending upon what planet they are. But it's a charge that is then applied to the attitude of the sign that it's in, and then integrated into the world through the activities that that planet and sign, what house they're in. So
Okay.
there's 3 layers, like a layer of lasagna. Now there's a 4th layer, but that doesn't need to be brought up in this, and that's the angular relationship between the planets. They're are they 60 degrees apart from each other, 180 degrees apart from each other? That's not so much a plane or a layer, but it's a refinement of the planets. It shows how the planets dialogue with each other. How does your Mars dialogue with Venus? What's the mathematical or angular relationship between Mars? And then in astrology, we have different definitions for the different angles, the differences. So, but main thing, planet and a sign and a house. Planet with
Thank you.
attitude and activity. If you remember that, you got 90% of, maybe 75% of the what I call spatial geometry problems in understanding astrology, which is attempting to see that out in society. And I'm not one to try and do visual graphics and this like this. I'd much rather try and explain it verbally. I have many planets in the 3rd house, and that's verbosity, I guess you might say. So